Bolivinaka, my name is Suliasi. Work in France for the last 7 years. A company called Wasserman, which is the recruitment agency biggest in the world. We normally do player welfare and scouting young rugby players. Yes. What we're doing now, we normally go through the schools, before the schools, and we speak to the parents of the young rugby players. Not really giving them false promise, but proposing them what could happen, sort of like giving them a heads up in terms of how they know their pathways through rugby and what they can achieve. It's an advice to do that. Yeah. We don't exploit young ones. What we do, we get the consent from the parents. If a child is being raised by a single parent, then we make sure we contact them, speak them, brief them about what sort of things that we need to know, their background. We also get that for our information. So from there, we speak to the school, especially going through the head of the school. Then the head of school will task us through the head of PMAC. And then from there, it escalates down to the student, the young ones. Then we get to interview them, speak to them. If we know, or if we, because we normally collect their video clips as well. If we know that he's very good in the sport he's playing, then we ask the parents to give his or her consent, and then we continue the process of what we normally do for any young rugby players. Credit through Fiji Rugby Union. The Fiji Rugby Union doesn't have any regulation where we know that, where I asked this question through Fiji Rugby Union in April. Where is your regulation that you have regulated sports? Because they comes through under the Ministry of Youth and Sport. They said you always go through Ministry of Youth and Sport. But if they said to us, it is grey. It's still a grey area. It needs to be rectified. It needs to be accredited. For me, for myself, I've got a sort of like a license, business license to operate in Fiji through the education in sports. I've already sent all that, my business license. It's just a normal business license, like Fiji Rugby Union is running its business in Fiji. I'm doing the same thing. I do sports, education, and do activities through that business license in doing consultation for any schools or any individual or a rugby club or team. Yes, there's a lot of challenges. First of all, we have to work together, build bridges with Fiji Rugby Union, not to differentiate with what type of agent is some. Especially agents come from Australia and New Zealand. We've asked them, what they said to us, yes, we just go, we speak to the kid, we get him signed. Not only in union, in rugby league as well. But they've been doing that for the last few years. What we're trying to do in April is trying to ask them to come in, to be regulated, then that can help everyone work in a transparent way. Yes, and we hope that thing, comes from Fiji Rugby and everybody could be regulated. But for the meantime, I don't see anyone, because at the moment, as a local, my job was to find whoever is regulated in the FRU. So when you look at the accredited one, I can't see anyone. So how do they do their job in Fiji while trying to explain all these young ones? Because first of all, they are not local. They're overseas based, and they come over and they don't have any business license. And I have my business license to operate in Fiji, getting all these young ones. So the school has got my license. Even Fiji Rugby has got my license, which is why I'm coming into the country every year to do the job. I pay tax so I can operate in Fiji. Simple as that. Okay. For all my recruitment, especially last night, there were two of my players. One of them, Penito Rao, play against Po. scored the first try on his debut. And the other one is MOC Tumania, the tighthead prop for MGM, plays 30 minutes against Toulouse. The things that we've been doing is called speed tests. We're testing them for all this, so we get stats, as in statistics. We send them to the clubs. We are not representing any friends, but we're representing the company called Wasserman. So when a player has been signed through a contract, through the school and the parents, what we always ask through the club to give a kind of a donation, as in a good gesture, giving back to the school. So the school is not, they said, from the head of the school to us, he said, all I want is the future for that kid, you know, for his welfare and everything. For us, because we know the school has been nurtured this kid for the last 3 to 4 years, we are asking the club to give us some sort of like a development fees back to the school, so they can benefit the school of what they have done through the years. We are donating some rugby kit, including rugby balls, some bags, some kicking tees, some shield, not only for rugby, but also for football, basketball, volleyball. It's the school's benefit, not only for the rugby, but for everything. Yes, for the last few weeks, has been 4 schools has already been done that. For this year, we haven't done any recruitment at all. We were still doing testing, and then we'll finalize everything towards the end of September. For the ones that I've got on it is the one that has not been picked by Fiji Rugby. Especially from RKS, I've got a lot of players who we choose from the group that we pick. Most of them been dropped by Fiji Rugby. Those are the players that will be sending them to France. Yes, well, we look at the list what Fiji Rugby, and our list we already have with us. We've already submitted to the head of the school that we want those players. But most of those players from RKS is the one that we're sending them in the next few months. If I may add on this, there were only 2 players from the one that had been picked through Fiji Rugby, and 6 or 7 of my players that we test them in our pricing will have a ticket to France, either the end of this year or the beginning of next year. The first thing is that I want to thank the school and the parents for always giving us the consent to come and speak to the kids and opening that pathways, especially for the other school from the RKS who's leading all these. They are the leading school that have been trying to open the pathways for the student. For us, to give us a good picture, the clubs has always have something. When a player has gone to France, a kind gesture would be really good to send back to a credit for their account, so they can collect what we experienced today. They're collecting some of their school kit, as in their sports stuff today. And that's from me. Thank you.